Hi knitters, welcome to PJ Knits. My name's Penny. I live in Central Illinois and I am a knitter, a blogger, and a YouTube podcaster. Thank you so much for coming to my knitting journal. I do appreciate those who are new and to some returning friends and community. I do appreciate it so much that you stopped by. Today is Sunday, March 19th. And the weather report, it's still winter here in Central Illinois. I thought by now we'd be having some warmer temps, but woke up yesterday morning to snow and very cold. And so I'm still wearing my knits, my winter knits, my winter sweaters, pulling them out and wearing them. So today's episode is going to be about summer sweaters though, but first, before I forget, because last time I forgot totally to tell you that I was wearing my avalanche sweater, and the details on that are in the description box from the previous podcast. So all the information is there, and you can also find the notes on my Ravelry page, project page. I am Penny J on Ravelry. That's my login, whatever. We have a group that is under PJ Knits. On Instagram, I am PJ Knits, and I have a blog, www.pjknits.blogspot.com, that I also talk about knitting and life and other things and spring photos, etc. So anyway, but first I'm going to start with the sweater I'm wearing because it is still winter here, but we are hopeful that spring is coming. Everybody, I know it's not just me, everybody is anxiously awaiting warmer temps. For me, my whole thing is I love knitting on the porch as soon as I possibly can, and I've done a couple of days this in the last couple of months when it's been in the 60s. You know, I put my sweaters on and went out and sat and knit. So I just love that whole time. I can be found when the weather's conducive. I can be out on my front porch knitting early in the morning, late at night, in the afternoon, just soaking up the sunshine and enjoying the weather and the sounds of the neighborhood. So anyway, looking forward to that. But because winter is still here and it is 26 degrees and sunny though, I'll take the sun. Not as windy as it was the last couple of days. And so we're hopeful for some sunshine. I'll take it. But what I wanted to talk about first of all is a sweater that I pulled out to wear today because I am going to have to run out at some point in time, I think, to the grocery store. And so this is a perfect knit for this. This particular sweater, this is a weird one. I have to go back to my journals and see, because I don't have hardly any notes on my Ravelry project page for it, although I knit it probably in 2019-ish, I want to say. And so I really need to go back and put the notes in it. I love this sweater. This particular sweater is called Pickpocket, and it was designed by two friends, the Rainey sisters, Sally and Susan. And if you don't follow them, their blog, please do. They are expert knitters and have so many cool techniques. They are sisters who knit and do some occasional designing, and Susan does some teaching up in Minnesota, and Susan and Sally are friends from Meg Swanson's knitting camp, and I'm going to see Susan this summer there as well. So this is a particular pattern that they designed together called Pickpocket, and I'll show you a picture. And as always, there will be show notes in a couple of days down below in the description box of everything that I talk about today so that you can get some links. But here is Pickpocket knit, and I particularly love this one. The thing about the Pickpocket is that there are 6 pockets choices to decide from. I went the easy route, as I do quite often, but here are the 6 to choose from that are included in the pattern, and the pattern has all the details in it. But here are the different pockets that you can choose to put on the outside and right here. And I have used this method, the method that Susan and Sally use in here, I've used it on some other pockets that I've inserted. So there's also there could be a little knot up at the top, the little I-cord knot that you put to kind of finish it off, but I chose not to put that on there, but it has a nice detail on the shoulder. And then I love this rib and also the rib at the bottom. Whoops. With a split seam. And I love these pockets, the way they go in, and I have used the secondary color in the pocket too. So I just love it. I love wearing it. It is so comfy and cozy, especially for today and for going out. I originally knit this in a stash yarn, my personal yarn shop yarn. It was the Hikoo Kenzie for both of them. So I just wanted to share what I was wearing today because it's still winter here. So I am still wearing my winter knits and still a little bit of I think allergies are kicking in. and I've heard I'm not the only one, so pardon me for just a moment. So anyway, I wanted to share that particular pattern with you, and you can get that on Ravelry and check out all the other options that are out there, and both Susan and Sally's. They have a group on Ravelry as well, and check out their project pages because they give me so many great sweater ideas to knit. And as I said, it is so much fun to know them, and I enjoy them so much. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Now, announcement, guys. Did you realize that tomorrow, at least in central Illinois, about 6:30-ish tomorrow night, spring starts, right? The official calendar says that spring is starting. We're still going to have some cooler weather, but as I have talked about before on the podcast and other places, my whole intention for 2023 is to knit sweaters. I want to knit sweaters, and I want to knit them as I always have, that fit well, but I want to have the sweater done so that I can wear it in the season, not necessarily a sweater that I am knitting during the season and then have limited amount of wearing time. Now, I'm not the only one who has this idea, but I have been talking about this idea since way last year, and a lot of other people in podcasts and things that I've been watching, they're doing the same thing. They realize that so much time we spend knitting that it'd be nice to be able to get a lot more mileage out of that. And I have sweaters that I'll show this year as well during the podcast that I'm wearing that I knit in the last few years that still are good and great summer sweaters to wear. But for the most part, I have 2 sweaters that are in progress, 3 sweaters right now that are on the needles right now that I don't want to say that they are summer sweaters, but they are sweaters for some events that I'm going to that I know will be chilly. And I've talked about that before. When I go to Meg Swanson's knitting camp in July, the hotel is cold, and so you need sweaters to wear. We are going to be a part of a large group that are going to Knit City in Montreal in May, and I know their weather is going to be a little bit cooler than our normal weather would be in central Illinois. And so both of the sweaters that I'm knitting right now are meant for some functions this summer where I'm going to be in air conditioning. Yes, that they are long sleeve, and I'll share those whips with you now, so you can see what I've been knitting right now. And then I'm going to talk about in a little bit my plans for summer as well, because I anticipate that the sweaters that I'm working on will be in tandem with my summer sweaters. So I just wanted to give you that shout out, that reminder, let you know that tomorrow's the first day of spring. And if you're like us, we moan that winter's still here and that spring's not coming. And then all of a sudden, at least in central Illinois, spring makes the appearance, and all of a sudden it's 90 degrees and we're sitting there thinking, oh, I should be knitting, right? Something summery. So I'm hoping that I'm going to inspire you to think about your summer sweaters or your late spring, depending. And maybe you live in a climate that's not going into summer. Maybe you're going into winter. So you'll have some ideas for next year when it gets here. So grab a cuppa and let's talk about some sweaters. Now, I would love for you all to join me in this quest. My hashtag is PJ Knits Sweater Project, but I would love for you to share with us and do your own, whatever your Instagram name is. I would love to you to hashtag whatever, summer sweaters, summer tees, whatever, in Instagram, or hashtag PJ Knits Sweater Project as well. I'd love to see what you're knitting on for the seasons to come, summer and late spring. And if you're like a couple of us, I can be cold in the summer. So a 3/4 or bracelet link sweater is very much appropriate for me. So let me tell you what's on my needles right now for the functions that I am going. I'm just going to give you a couple of updates. You have seen some of these before, but I'm just going to kind of give you an update from the last time. First one up is Sea Salt. This is by Laura Aylor. And I've talked about this one before. I'm having so much fun with this. And my little stitch marker here is from where we were last time. I have finished the increases on the sleeve, the Progress Keeper. And I have to tell you, this is Mad Latache DK, right? In the Sea Salt colorway. I didn't realize and just till the last week or so when I have knit a little bit on this, how much I love this yarn. It is so comfy and just feels good in knitting, so I know I'm going to wear it. And just calling your attention to those who do like peeps. I know there are a lot of you who don't, but it has my little Progress Keeper, my little peep Progress Keeper on it, and that's basically the amount of knitting this particular sweater has received since last we were on here. But I'm hoping to get some more progress going on that. And I have my little M&Ms on it that I purchased at my local yarn shop, the Fiber Universe. I have a couple of those. So that is one of the projects that is on my needles right now. It's really, I think, about a bracelet length sleeve, so it's not super long, but as I said before on a past podcast, my intention is I see myself walking along a beach, if not this year, next year, most definitely. We're making some plans for next February, March, wearing this particular sweater with some kind of pretty blue, I see it with pretty blue capris. So I'm on the lookout for bottoms to go with my sweaters as well. So I see this happening. That's what I'm on the lookout. If you all know a place, and it's not really a light denim blue, it's more of and it's not a turquoise, it's more of an oceany blue, and that's kind of what I'm looking for to put on the bottoms for this ensemble, as it would be. And probably because I saw the gal who's modeling this sweater has kind of that color in pants, it looks like, below. So anyway, I'm looking for something to go with that for the future. And then my next knit that I'm going to share with you is Niagara and give you the progress on that. This is by Heidi Kirrmaier, and this is double duty for a sweater that I saw many years ago on Pinterest. I have shared my inspiration photo with you of this ensemble that I want to kind of go out and kind of duplicate of what's going on here. And I'll show you all that. That's my kind of look that I'm going for when all's said and done. And so that kind of was my starting point, my inspiration of what I wanted to create with this green sweater. Now we are also doing green sweaters for the mini meetup up in Hoffman Estates at the end of July, and so this will double duty as that. as well as giving me meeting what I saw in my inspiration photo. And here is the back. It is like 15.5 inches now of just stockinette back and forth and back and forth. And this is the progress that I've made since the last time. It has my little progress keeper on it. We'll go that way. There you go. On it. So it's just stockinette, and then I'll have to do the front garter in that. So I'm hoping in the next few days to have more progress done on this. It's been a great Zoom knitting project because it's just back and forth. I'm making myself get this done because I really want to wear it as soon as the weather starts to get a little warmer, and so that is my intention to have that done fairly soon, and also to possibly take it with me to Montreal again because I think it'll be a great layering piece. And I have a little. I'm loving these stitch stoppers that I actually bought from my local yarn shop, so I'm loving those. So much fun to have, and I love the way they stay on so well. So anyway. There you go. An M&M, Lucas. We'll teach you all about those this summer, right? Anyway, so that is a couple of whips, and then comes the one that has been a project that some friends encouraged me to cast on with them, and we are doing a little mini knit-along for the Stephen West Garter Marler cardigan. And this sweater has encompassed so much of my knitting time and my thought process, because what I'm doing is I'm taking yarns all out of my personal yarn shop, my PYS, and some big skeins that I had some leftovers that were in the bag to do mitered square and then into the crochet afghan. So I pulled some of those out. And this thing is just encompassing everything that I've been doing. And I am loving this so much about picking out the colors on this one. I started out with Sun Valley Fibers, MCN Merino Cashmere Nylon. I have enough of it. And my ribs at the top and down the front and around the bottom are all going to be this particular yarn. I think this colorway was Blueberry Crush, as I recall, or Crumble, Blueberry Crumble. But anyway, those notes will be in there. But I am using all of my stash on this one. I'm loving everything about putting this together. So here's what it looks like so far. I have split and just putting colors together, just pulling, colors together. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see a few days ago I had a video that I took of them all along a railing that I'd already used. And then I go back and I pull one out because I'm to the point now where I'm using some again a second time around with something else. And so then they come to the front if I've used them a secondary time. But I am just loving this. This is so much fun, and will be, and really my thought process of what this particular sweater will be worn mostly out on knitting on the front porch early morning, throw on my jammies and go out and sit. So I'm having so much fun with this Garter Marler cardigan. And the funny thing is, probably when I first saw it in the pullover form, I was like, eh. And then my friends asked me to join them in it, and I'm like, it didn't take me but a minute to figure out that I wanted to do it, and it would be a great jumping off point for using some stash, some stash yarns, some leftovers in the bin. And really, this is the jumping off point for that cover sweater from 52 Weeks of Easy Knits that I am seriously going to be casting on really soon, as well as an ongoing project, because it just has developed the creativity and just has so much fun just to to pick out yarns or to put yarns in it that I normally would not, like this, like maybe the brown and even the yellow. I love yellow, but I have an aversion to it when you put it with other things because it just shouts out. And then this brown, probably not my colorway, but I had it, so I put it in, and it was like, it's kind of like I make some decisions, but I don't make a whole lot of decisions. Just pull it and do it. So again, I am loving this, so much fun. Stay tuned to how it all develops, and it is a great knit for using up your PYS as well. So I encourage you to, and here's an orange, a bright orange, that was a yarn that I got from ZK many years ago, that I put into it, a big skein. And so I'm loving that. And when I start, pull a regular yarn out of my PYS, it's going to go into both of my blankets at some point as well. So it's a great way to use up your PYS. That's what I think, in fingering weight, because it's 2 fingering weights held together. So I'm having so much fun with that. Can you tell? And I'm really making myself knit on my other sweaters because I really want to be with this, but I have to put it aside just for a little bit to see if I can't accomplish maybe my Niagara in before I podcast again soon. So anyway, those are what's on the needles right now that I want to get done, because I'm anxiously wanting to cast on my summer sweaters. Okay, so in previous episodes, I talked about my basket of yarns, and I showed you what was in my basket of yarn, what I was hoping to do for winter, and maybe early spring. What happened was I took a couple of the yarns out of my basket. I took out the peachy kind of Madeline Tosh DK, because I can't decide what that wants to be. That's my problem. And so I pulled it aside, put it in a little bin that I have that's out in my PYS, and I will look at it, and remember it maybe for later in summer, going into fall, if I decide on something else for it. So I kind of took it out, and I took the cobalt blue linen quill out, because this one is another one that I was waffling, if you remember, between Granito and Pearl Soho's Paula Pereira's Everyday Sweater. I think it was Everyday Sweater. Daily Pullover by Paula Pereira. And so I'm waffling as to what it wants to be. I am loving the V-neck. I have a couple other V-necks for early spring and into the fall, but I'm looking at other V-necks. I'm thinking maybe this would be a nice one to try, and a different designer, but I also like Granito. So I'm like on the fence as to what that's going to be. And so I pulled it aside, and really maybe it won't make an appearance until next spring, because I think that one really is kind of one that I want to be wearing, as soon as the temps change. And until I decide what it's going to be, I think it's best that it just goes as a reminder, just in another section of the personal yarn shop, not to be forgotten totally, but not something that I know what I want to knit with, if that makes sense. And I don't want to embark, as I did with my Jody Long Alba, and know that all along that it's not the right pattern for the yarn. So I'm putting that one on hold. So I want to share what went in the basket and what I am so super excited about and want to cast on something really soon. So here is my handy dandy basket of yarns that I'm going to talk to you about today. The green that I'm doing Niagara is still in here. As a reminder, it is double Sunday petite knit in the green. And so the leftovers of it is in it. And then also back here is the sea salt, which is the Madeline Tosh that's back there, because that is ongoing as well. But I want to share what the other things that have made it into my basket for summer that I am thinking very seriously about. The first one up is a kit that I bought I saw it being advertised last year on Instagram, and it's the out of Nashville, shop out of Nashville, and they had it on their Instagram post, and I'm like, I gotta have it. And the pattern came with it as well, I believe, or I had to go out and purchase it. You know, it was over a year ago and things happened. But this is called the Noro Easy-Peasy Poncho. And of course, those of you who know me well will understand why I had to have this. And I love ponchos. I love them for throwing over things in the summertime for short sleeve or even sleeveless dresses. I love for them when we're down on the riverfront as well. And so then this was a no-brainer for me. And again, look at, if I could find those pants right there, I'd have those as well. So often for me, and I know that there are others, I can't put an outfit together, but if I see an ensemble that I like, then I remember that and I want to duplicate that. So I'm on the lookout for something like that. And the yarn that I got for this is the Noro yarn that was that it is knit out of, 2 skeins. It's Noro. I can't even tell you, and I'm not even going to try to tell you what the name of it is. It's color 9. It's Kakigori. Anyway, this is a funny one because when I pulled it out to put it into the basket, I thought, wouldn't this make a great summer tee? So stay tuned to see if I change my mind and this becomes some sort of summer tee, or if I just leave it as the poncho as well. But it was just a funny that I'm like, oh, I do know from looking at this yarn and other projects on Ravelry that people who have done the tees on this has a little bit of self-striping in it. A little subtle self-striping. You can see it there. And so I'm not sure that that's necessarily one that something I'm going to do or not. But I thought that was so much fun. I wanted to share that with you. And then I have a Ranunculus on my mind. And this yarn is an Ultra Pima Fine. The colorway is Deep Ocean. And I purchased this 5 years ago when Debbie and I went to Florida and spent some time with our friend Victoria. And I purchased this on our way back in Sarasota, and it's been in my PYS since then. And I've kicked around a lot of different particular patterns with this, tops or tank tops or whatever. And so the decision has been made that I need another Ranunculus for summer. This would be my 3rd one. One I wear in the wintertime. The other one I gave away because it was too short and I didn't have any more yarn. And the 3rd one would be this one. And so Ranunculus is on the block for it, I believe. And probably in one of these versions so that I can wear it over I'm thinking over some sort of tank dress or some sort of dress. So this is on my summer, and I really want to cast this on. I really, really want to cast this on desperately. So stay again. I'm sorry to keep saying to you, I just like saying this, but I really want to cast that on. So that is in my basket for summer. And then last year, the knitting place, I saw them knitting on the Sommerknus. It's by Elizabeth Judith. And they talked about it last year. I think this would be so much fun to do. And the reason I think it would be so much fun to do is it has this texture on it, right? And so it would give you a little bit of fun rather than just doing plain stockinette, as so many things, are in my want list or in my wish list. This would give you a little switching up of something to do. And I have also, I have knit a sweater out of this Cascade Ultra Pima, and I bought a lot of it because I wasn't sure, I think at the time, and I made a shawl with it in black that was a hospice shawl. I made a Corey Eichelberger pattern from their her and Megan's book out of this, and then I still have some left. It is the Cascade Ultra Pima, and so my Sommerknus, I believe, is going to be out of this. I think this will be a great yarn, and for this one, and I'm looking forward to casting that on as well. So that is in the basket for my summer knit. And then second to last, this particular one, I have had this pattern for ages. I bought this way back with when one of our other local yarn shops, Knit For Together, was in business. So it's been, I don't know, probably 6-7 years ago. And this is Cottonation, a cute little top that I love, that I definitely would wear with something over it. And I have a lot of those Talbots or Coldwater Creek simple little cardigan, lightweight knit cardies that you wear over things. And so this is on my list, this Cottonation. This talked about it way back in episode 59. So it's been a minute, right? And I have yarn for that, the actual Cottonation yarn that I've had, like I said, in my PYS for quite some time. It's kind of a ribbony yarn, so that will be fun and different. And one of our friends has knit this top, and I loved it on her when she wore it. And I think very springy, summery, well into summer. So I'm looking forward to that particular one. And then lastly, but surely not to be least as we go on in the summer season, I'm sure that there are going to be some other patterns. In fact, there's one that I saw last week on Knits and Pieces podcast that Noelle was knitting from Petite Knit that I'm dying to buy the yarn for, and maybe that's a purchase from my Montreal trip. But anyway, last but not least, is this a pattern called Marina, and this one, again, yarn that I purchased from my local yarn shop that has long since been out of business. And so this is a 6, 7, maybe 8 years ago particular yarn, but I'm anxious to get it out of my stash. And it is called Seedling. This is from the Verdi collection by Classic Elite Yarns, and they're no longer. So anyway, and again, the same friend who has knit the Cottonation knit the Seedling, and we have kind of the same aesthetics or thought process of what we like to knit, and she had this, and so I'm going to knit this for this summer as well. So those are the things that are in my basket for summertime. Hashtag PJ Knit Sweater Project. And there are so many ideas, so many things that I want to cast on and knit, and I am grateful and thankful that I'm retired, that I can spend a lot of time knitting. So I'm just excited. I'm excited about the summer, the spring to come. I'm excited about summer that's going to come, and for all the knits and for knitting adventures and all kinds of things. I'm just so looking forward to really getting past the early parts of May. I'm looking forward to that having a 1-year anniversary marked in early May. I am looking forward to having that come and celebrating that piece of newness, of new things. Let's just put it that way. So anyway, I'm looking forward to what's to come this summer and my knitting, and I'm grateful that I can do those things. So, okay, I want to talk to you about a couple of things. I told you that this is really, right now, is probably my 5-year podiversary. I came home from Florida with my friend Debbie after visiting Victoria in Florida 5 years ago, and I had been tossing around doing a podcast after watching a lot of them. And I just sat down after we got back and got my iPad out and just chit-chatted into the screen showing things and didn't tell anybody I was doing it. So, it was just like if somebody stumbles upon it, and then started telling some friends about it, and it just developed from here. And so I am so grateful for everybody that has joined me on this journey, and those who have done shout outs, on their podcast, telling people about me. I do appreciate that so much. And I appreciate the community that we are building. And just to remind you, we are doing a PJ Knits Zoom every Saturday night at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. And we talk about knitting, we talk about adventures, we talk about shamrock shakes, we talk about all kinds of things, and we share our knitting. And it's a great community that we're developing, and it's so much fun. I do appreciate those of you who come to the Zoom on Saturday nights, because it makes my Saturday nights something to look forward to, and it also it's like I'm having a little knit night with friends, and gets me through a weekend that's kind of quiet around here, to be quite honest. So thank you so very much for those who come to Zoom, and please join us. The information is in the PJ Knits Ravelry group under Zoom, I believe is how it says. But we are Zooming every Saturday night. If for some reason I know that there'll be a couple of Saturdays that I'll be out of town, I'll try and let everybody know the week before or in the podcast that we're not doing it. But things come up as well. But we're continuing the Zoom, and we'd love to have you join us, join our community, and talk about knitting and other things. So in celebration of my 5th podiversary, I am going to give away another Queen Sandy bag, and here is the next one that we will be giving away. Isn't it adorable? And on the inside, look at this inside. It has her telltale pocket on the other side, but look at this. So that is going to be our next giveaway on the next podcast to celebrate 5. And they are lovely bags. I love mine. Now, in order to be able to win, possibility of winning the bag, a couple things you need to do. Please like and subscribe to this to my channel. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. Comment and let me know in your comment, how did you hear about PJ Knits podcast, if you would, please. I'd love to know, and to give a shout out to those who have turned you on to, or if you're just one of my friends I've met on my knitting adventures, I'd love to know that. So comment below, and the next podcast, I will give away another one of her bags. So I love hearing where people found me, and some just stumble on, and some of you are family and friends. So I do thank you for that. Now, for the winner of last podcast bag from the comment generator, the winner of this bag is Carolyn K, Cape Cod Knitter. Hi, Carolyn. Congratulations. I'm so pleased that you're a winner. If you would contact me via Instagram, or you also can send me an email, pjknitspodcast@gmail.com, or you can do an instant message on Ravelry to Penny J, and give me your last name and your address, and I will get this bag out to you. I'm so pleased that you are a winner. And Carolyn and I have said this before on Zooms, that we are so much alike in our aesthetic of patterns that we like to knit, and things that are circulating, I think, in our knitting brain. So very much, I think, it's interesting when you find people like that, and other knitters, and you're like, yeah, I like that pattern too. Oh yeah, I like that too. And when you see you have a very much a copacetic, knitting type thing. So anyway, we've got a couple of giveaways for that. And as always, I am so thankful to Sandy for her generous bags. I love them. I can't say that enough. So thank you, Sandy, for your generous contribution to the podcast. I do appreciate it. So, okay. Couple of things before we end this podcast. I had a hint that I wanted to, or it's a hint, and I kind of wanted to talk about what's in my knitting notion bags. And I have, if you're like me, with the bags that we have, a lot of different knitting projects, we have a lot of notion bags. And so in one of my big notion bags that I like to carry when I go to events, or if I'm going to be at knit nights or whatever, I have a large notion bags, or just this one sits, I have one next to my chair that has a lot of duplicates in it, and this one goes into my knitting bag. Will go, like when I go on knitting adventures, it will go in there. But one of the things that I wanted to share with you that is in my knitting bag is I bought these little plastic things in anticipation of putting my knitting needles in them, right? Well, what happened was I have so many knitting needles that there was the thing was like huge. And so I decided to use them and put a little notion in there, because they were getting, all tossed around in my notion bag. And what I have in my notion bag, a lot of the ones when I'm going, is I believe it's a size 1. And I have a Chiagoo, or I have Knit Picks. And this is a 40-inch cable. Now, originally what I bought this for is back in the day when I thought I was going to do socks, on a long magic loop. I was going to do that, or 2 at a time. And what happened was I decided that that's not for me. I like my double points, and we all like our techniques. We're individuals and whatever we like. So I had some of these, and this has come in so handy because it's a size 1-ish, but it's usually a smaller needle than what I have that I'm working on. And so if I find what is happening, if I have an error in my sweater, in the round, or in something that I'm knitting, or shawl or whatever, and it's a ways back, my inclination is to not necessarily drop the stitches back, right, to fix that. What I do is I just pull the needle and rip it back. And so what happens when I get to that rip back point, in some yarns, when the needles, the stitches start to get smaller and they want to pull off. So what I do is I take my long cable and my very much smaller 1 needle, and I run it through those stitches that are live, and then I knit from this. That way, it's so much easier to get those stitches that want to fall away onto a smaller needle than trying to put them back on the needle that I have been knitting with, right? So anyway, that's one of the things that I put into, and it's sufficient so that if I have a sweater or a shawl or whatever, that I can get all of the stitches on there. And it may be a 32, in this case, I know it has to be a 40 cable, but I get everything on there and then just knit it back onto my regular needle that I'm actually knitting with, and saves me a lot of frustration trying to keep those stitches that are shrinking off of the needle. And so then I put it back into my my zip bag there, and then zip it up, and then put it back into my notions bag. And so then it's really all there by itself, easy to do. So I have several of those, and I put them in my bag so that I can easily catch them when I want to. So that's just a hint and a little something that's in my notion bag, and I will talk about those. I'll tell you more about what's in my notion bag as we go on through the summer. And then finally, a sort of mail call. As I've talked about on several podcasts, I am loving those stitch stoppers that I bought from my local yarn shop. And then also I've got some other that I got from Le Mouton Rouge, which is a yarn shop over in Bloomington Normal. They have a grand assortment of them, and I will show you those that are on some knitting as I pull that knitting out. But I got a little gifty from a friend of mine, Kendra. These are from foxandpinestitches.com, and she bought them because they were the color and they were sheep. And so these are super, super cool, and I wanted to share this as kind of sort of a mail call with you. We talked about them on a Zoom couple of weeks ago, and look at those. Are those super, super fun? And so they will go on one of my summer sweaters that I am soon to be casting on. You can count on it. They fit a size 2 to a 13, and I love them. And again, they are fox and pine stitches. I am loving those. So stitch stoppers are my latest fixation. I have not bought any yarn, but I have bought stitch stoppers. And I'm pretty proud. So thanks, Kendra. I will put them on my summer sweater very, very soon. So that is all I have for you for this episode of PJ Knits. Sun shining. It's chilly. Maybe I won't go to the grocery store today. Maybe I'll just do some knitting this afternoon and enjoy the day. So thanks for tuning in. Carolyn, let me know where to send your bag. Comment below to win the next one. Let us know where you met. And as always, I'm so appreciative of those when you shout out and let other people know about my podcast. I think that's fun on Zooms or with friends. They'll say, hey, have you watched this podcast? And you're like, no, I haven't. And you tune in, and it's very much fun. I am very much a lot, and I've said it before, a YouTube podcast watcher as it relates to knitting. There's also some other couple of podcasts that I listen to that are not knitting, that are kind of reality type as they would be, and have turned me on to things that I never thought I'd be watching on TV. But I do watch a lot of knitting podcasts, and my whole goal when I watch a podcast is to be inspired. I want that podcast to speak to me. I want them to say, subliminally, write this down. You want to knit this. And so I'm hoping that is something that I am also doing for you. I hope it's something that you say, hey, I like that sweater. I want to knit, or I want to look into that yarn, or I just want to be a part of the Zoom and I want to just talk knitting with like-minded knitters. So anyway, thank you. We will see you in a couple weeks. Hopefully we can say then that spring is really here. Remember, tomorrow, Monday, is the start of spring, and we'll go through, I think it's like June 20th, so it's about, you've got a few months, and there's things coming up. The summer, right? Summer of Shawls will be starting. So anyway, until next time, knit on with confidence and hope, and look towards spring, guys. Thanks for tuning. Bye. Did you hear my stomach rumble the whole time? I had breakfast already. I'm hungry. Signing off. Bye. Cheers.